Morning students, welcome to BSc 1 second semester environmental science class. So today I am going to discuss on abiotic components of ecosystem and food chain and food web. So an abiotic factor is a non-living component in the environment. In the previous class we discussed what is ecosystem. Ecosystem is a system of nature wherein biotic and abiotic factors are interrelated. Biotic factors are interrelated among themselves and also with the surrounding abiotic factors. So abiotic factors play a very important role in the survival of the organisms. So organisms are, they are dependent on the surrounding non-living factors. Non-living factors like temperature, water, then air, soil, all these are essential. So we people depend on environment. We, for our survival, depend on atmospheric oxygen. For our life, oxygen is required. That oxygen is present in the environment. So it is abiotic factor, right? And this oxygen is produced by plants, okay? So plants take carbon dioxide from our body and they grow. They synthesize their food in presence of light and water. So abiotic factors are also important for the survival of organisms. An abiotic factor is a non-living component in the environment. This can be either a chemical or physical presence. Abiotic factors fall into three basic categories. Abiotic factors of the environment, an ecosystem, they fall under three basic categories: climatic, edaphic, and social. Climatic factors include humidity, sunlight, and factors involving the climate. Edaphic refers to soil conditions. So abiotic factors include soil and geography of the land. Social factors include how the land is being used and water resources in the area. So 5 common abiotic factors are atmosphere, chemical elements, sunlight, temperature, wind, and water. Let us discuss some of the abiotic factors that are playing important role in ecosystem. Temperature and light. So temperature of the air and water affect animals, plants, and humans in ecosystems. Temperature of air, temperature of water affect animals, plants, and humans in ecosystem. How this temperature affects human life or animals life or plants life? Depending upon temperature availability on this earth, three major regions have been identified, such as temperate, tropical, subtropical, and temperate, or even the polar regions. Tropical region has more temperature, therefore more biodiversity can be seen in the tropical region. At the center of the planet, Earth planet, on either side of the equator, tropical region comes. So those countries which fall in this region have more biodiversity. Then temperate, less biodiversity. In the polar region, still less biodiversity can be seen. So for the distribution of organisms, temperature plays a very important role. Temperature plays a very important role. So where temperature, light is more, the production of food is more. Availability of food is more. When availability of food is more, naturally number of species of organisms is also more. So a rise in temperature has the potential to change the way a living thing develops because it changes the metabolic rate of the organism. All living organisms have a tolerance level for temperature range. For example, a human being would die if he stood out in minus 50 degrees centigrade for any length of time. For any length of time, if he is exposed to minus 50 degrees centigrade, he cannot survive. Light exposure often affects the temperature. Light exposure affects the temperature. Where light is more, temperature is more. Where light is less, temperature is less. So usually at the tropical level, tropical region, light is more. Therefore, temperature is also more. Areas with direct sunlight are warmer. Areas with direct sunlight are warmer. So tropical regions are more warmer than the temperate and polar regions. So temperature plays an important role in deciding the metabolic rate of the organisms. Then water. All living organism needs some water intake. Water covers 70% of the Earth's surface and falls as rain or snow over land. In an environment with little water, only organisms requiring a small percentage of water can survive. So in deserts availability of water is very less. Annual rainfall is also less. In such condition, animals which can survive in such less available water area can live, such as the lizards. Lizards can survive because lizards are well adjusted to terrestrial life, and some mammals are also there. The desert rats make their burrow. During daytime they do not come out of their burrows. Only at the night they come out of their burrows in search of food. So their water availability is very less. Only organisms requiring a small percentage of water can survive. Other animals thrive in conditions with large amounts of water, such as marine animals and plants in oceans. Water is essential to survival, but every organism needs a different amount of water. So in deserts, plants are there. Which plants are present in desert? Xerophytes. They are called as xerophytes. They can survive in less amount of water. To reduce the evaporation of water from their body, they don't have leaves. Leaves are modified into spines. Stems are modified into leaves for photosynthesis. Okay, so they have been adapted to different climatic conditions. Plants as well as animals. Animals, those are living in water, cannot survive on land because of less amount of water. Okay, so we are not in water, we are adjusted to terrestrial life. Therefore, the water which is available on land is sufficient for our survival, and our body is fit to conserve water in our body. Very less amount of water is eliminated through urine because of more efficient kidney we have. So that is the importance of water. Water is essential. So our body, 70 to 90% of our body is composed of water. Water is known as a universal solvent. All nutrients are dissolved in water and they are being supplied to all body cells through blood. Blood has water. Okay, atmosphere. The atmosphere of the earth sustains life Animals and other creatures breathe oxygen or filter it from water. And plants grow because of the presence of carbon dioxide. Living things combine oxygen and carbon to make carbohydrates. Living things combine oxygen and carbon to make carbohydrates. So carbohydrates are made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Chemicals that provide energy. Carbohydrates are the chemicals that provide energy for us, for all organisms, and are important parts of DNA also. DNA has a sugar molecule, pentose sugar. DNA, which sugar is there in DNA? Deoxyribose. Deoxyribose is a pentose sugar present in DNA. In RNA, ribose sugar is present. So proteins and other organic materials are also made up of these gases present in the atmosphere. The atmosphere is made up of 4 layers such as troposphere, stratosphere, ozonosphere and mesosphere. First layer which is present on the surface of land is troposphere. Above that stratosphere is there. Above that ozonosphere and finally mesosphere. So atmosphere is categorized into these regions. Next, importance of wind. Often abiotic factors are affected by other factors. This is especially evident with wind. The wind speed and direction affects the temperature and humidity of an area. So wind speed is responsible for the temperature and humidity of an area. If wind is more, temperature is less, humidity is also less. If wind is less, temperature is more, humidity is also more. Very high wind speeds, often in mountainous areas, may lead to stunted plant growth. Stunted plant growth. So in very high speed wind existing regions may not have vegetation, thick vegetation. Very sparse vegetation is found in mountainous areas because of speed wind may lead to stunted plant growth and limit the types of life that can thrive in the areas. Wind also carries seeds and aids pollination. Yes, wind carry seeds from one place to another place, and wind is also responsible for pollination and spreading life. This lets plant forms travel out of a contained area. So the plants can spread from one place to another place is possible through wind only. So this is the importance of wind. So far we discussed some of the abiotic factors that are present in the ecosystem. So in our last class we were discussing the biotic factors of an ecosystem. If you take any ecosystem, there would be biotic as well as abiotic factors. In biotic factors, we have studied the presence of 3 different trophic levels: producers, consumers and decomposers. Producers, consumers and decomposers. Producers are always plants. Producers produce food by using sunlight in presence of carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide, water and chlorophyll pigment. So they produce food, and that food is given to the organisms of next trophic level. Consumers are again divided into the different types: primary consumers, secondary consumers, tertiary consumers, quaternary consumers. Primary consumers are herbivores. They feed directly on plants. So secondary consumers, tertiary consumers, they are all carnivorous. Finally, decomposers. Decomposers are essential for releasing nutrients, minerals that are present in the organisms to the soil after their decomposer. So decomposers include fungi, bacteria. So they decompose the plants and animals after their death. See, this is called food chain. The energy is moving in biotic environment of the ecosystem from one trophic level to another trophic level. That is called food chain or food web. How the energy is moving from producers to consumers, consumers to decomposers, right? From decomposers to soil, soil to again producers. So you take any ecosystem, it would be having food chain as well as food web. Food chain as well as food web. So let us discuss about food chain. The sun is the ultimate source of energy on earth. It provides the energy required for all plant life. The plants utilize this energy for the process of photosynthesis, which is used to synthesize their food. So during this biological process, light energy is converted into chemical energy and is passed on through successive levels. So light is used by the plants for preparing their food by the process of called photosynthesis. The flow of energy from a producers to consumer and eventually to an apex predator or a detrivore is called the food chain. Food chain. Okay, the flow of energy from producers to consumers, consumers to decomposers, right? Finally to the soil. This constitutes the food chain. Food chain. So dead and decaying matter along with organic debris is broken down into its constituents by scavengers. Scavengers are these are the animals which feed on dead organisms. Dead organisms, they are called scavengers. The reducers then absorb these constituents. After gaining the energy, the reducers liberate molecules to the environment which can be utilized again by the producers. So this is one food chain. This food chain has several organisms. This food chain tells us how the energy is moving from one organism to another organism. So this is grass, plants. Plants are eaten up by grasshoppers. Grasshoppers eat the grasses. Then energy which is present in the grass is transferred to the grasshoppers. Grasshoppers are eaten up by mice or frogs. Frogs, they feed on grasshoppers. They get energy from grasshopper. So indirectly they get energy from grass, directly from insects. Okay. Then these mice are eaten up by snake. The snake eats mice. Next, the eagles eat snake. Eagle eats snake. Then after their death, eagle or the death of these things, they are decomposed by the action of decomposers. So the first one is the grasshoppers eat the plants. Second organism is the mice eat the grasshopper. Third one, the snake eat the mice. Next, the eagles eat snake. When the hawk die, fungi breaks the bodies down and turns into nutrients. The nutrients along with sun and water cause the grass to grow. So again, the minerals are released to the soil. In soil, from the soil, grasses absorb these nutrients and they grow. Okay, next, food web. So food web is a network of interconnected food chains. It comprises all the food chains within a single ecosystem. It helps in understanding that plants lay the foundation of all the food chains. In a marine environment, phytoplankton forms the primary producer. So food web is a network of interconnected food chains, and it comprises all the food chains within a single ecosystem. So one example is given here. Autotrophs, plants synthesize their own food, therefore they are called autotrophs. They provide food to the grasshopper as well as to ground squirrel. Then grasshoppers are eaten up by scorpion. Scorpion is eaten up by fox. So grasshopper is herbivore, scorpion is carnivore, this is secondary consumer, and fox is tertiary consumer. So fox can eat scorpion as well as on squirrel, ground squirrel. Here one more food chain is present. This is one food chain and this is another food chain. These two food chains are interconnected here at this level. So squirrel is eaten up by eagle or fox. So this type of interconnected food chains is called as food web. See, you take any ecosystem, all food chains are interconnected to form food web. Okay, so this is the difference between food chain and food web. So let us discuss questions related to this topic. There are three questions. The first question is, write the importance of temperature in an ecosystem. Write the importance of temperature in an ecosystem. Second one is food chain. What is food chain? And third one is, what is food web? So these are the few assignments. Okay, so with this we have completed the abiotic factors of ecosystem, abiotic and biotic factors of the ecosystem. Thank you.